This video is kind of a little bit of a heartbreaking video. At the end of the preamble to the Constitution, Thomas Jefferson penned, and the people signed on to it, said, "With a firm reliance on divine providence, we pledge each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor." And that's why you'll never have a 1776 again. There'll never be another American Revolution. There'll never be another revolution in the world for liberty and rights the way that there was in America. It's never going to happen again, y'all. The lives that most people live are directly tied to the government. When you have, plus of 60% of the population that in one way, shape, or form gets a check from the government, be it military, law enforcement, government agent, somebody, a county clerk, someone who's on Social Security, disability income, Social Security income, welfare, you don't revolt from the entity that's giving you all your stuff. You don't commit to revolution against a government that's paying your pension. So I really don't give a shit what all the patriots, or they call themselves patriots, all these military vets and law enforcement and all this. I don't give a shit what you say. You are never going to raise up against your master. None of you are independently wealthy. If you were independently wealthy, you would not be collecting a pension from the state. So the life that you have is tied to the government. The fortune that you have, if you have one, is tied to the government. And you have no honor because you've sworn an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution, but you don't. Article 1, Section 10 of the Constitution says no state will use anything but gold or silver as legal tender for payment of a debt. But you cash that paycheck. If you work at the police department, sheriff's department, courthouse, if you're a probation officer, you cash that paycheck. And it's fiat currency. It's not gold or silver. And you do not defend the portion of the Constitution that demands that our government give us tangible assets linked to our money, a value to our money, a real tangible value. And there's other portions of the Constitution that you don't uphold. So you have no honor. The fortune that you have belongs to the state. And the life that you have is directly tied to the state. There will never be another American Revolution. History does repeat itself, but it does not always have the same outcome. So as you all toot your horn, and talk about how badass you are and what you're going to do to the feds when they show up, and boy, when they roll out them military tanks, then you're going to take care of business, right? But you're not doing anything now. All you're doing is talking now. See, I went to the United States Supreme Court in 2018. I made my own machine guns. I will not comply with the National Firearms Act. It is a tyrannical, a draconian, despotic law that prevents we the people from possessing the types of firearms that we would need to mount an effectual resistance against the government. The government would love nothing more than for you to have a shotgun and a pistol when they show up with M16s and M240 Bravos. And you all idiots agree with this stuff. You go get a federal firearms license and just comply and then talk about unconstitutional laws. You're full of shit, y'all. You're absolutely full of shit. And you're the reason why there will never be another American Revolution. You get all your stuff from the state, but you want the state to correct itself. That's not... Look at the American Revolution. Look at 1688, the Glorious Revolution in England. The state never corrects itself. The state never gives up power. The state always has to have power taken from it by force. Thus, the Second Amendment, codifying a right, a pre-existing right, that was here way before our Constitution ever existed. It falls in line with the first law of nature, self-defense. The zebra can kick the crocodile in the face, and if the zebra could pick up an M240 or a Galil, or if they could use a DSHK or an RPK or an AK-47 or an RPG-7, nobody would care because the crocodile is trying to do the zebra harm, okay? So the zebra has a right by nature, as per nature, to fight back with whatever means necessary. So you keep on with this stuff here on TikTok, You just keep on with the bread and circus. You can look up my Supreme Court petition of certiorari, 18-6515, United States Supreme Court.gov. You could go read it yourself. That petition is the reason why Bruin was decided the way that it was. I wrote it. I prepared it. I researched it. I submitted it. I learned all the rules. I did it myself. Couldn't find a lawyer that would do it. They don't want to fight these laws. They get paid from people signing guilty pleas for violating Commerce Code, and then they call you a felon and have everybody point the finger at you. And that's where we're at in America, you know? So in 1776, there was not $30 trillion plus worth of debt attached to the government dime. People had individual lives. They had individual fortunes. You can't leave stuff like this laying in the yard. I've been refurbing, though. They had their own fortunes. They had honor. You know, they were honorable men. Here in America, everybody who works for the government, who's been in the military, has sworn an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution from any enemy, foreign or domestic. But they cash the paychecks, and that paycheck is based on fiat currency. It's not tangible assets like the Constitution commands and demands. They don't enforce that against Congress. They don't go to their state legislatures and demand that they represent the people in Congress with our desire of having tangible asset attached to our currency. They commit violations of the Second Amendment continuously, up, down, left, and right, the plain text of the Second Amendment, the history of its adoption, and the tradition surrounding those events will show you resistance to tyranny is obedience to God. So if a tyrant tells you you can't have a machine gun unless you pass a background check, pay $200 for a tax and get it registered on a database so they know where it's at. You're supposed to resist that. You're never supposed to comply. If they say you can have a rifle, but if it has a barrel under 16 inches, then you have to register it with us. Give us $200 for a tax and be, put on a list of people so we know where this thing is. Do a background check. Same thing with a rocket launcher or explosives. I mean, anything like that. All those are weapons of warfare that we, the people, would use to resist the government. But the fact that everyone just complies, the founders wouldn't have did this, y'all. The founders would not have complied. They went to war over an attempt at gun control by British General Thomas Gage, passed down by Parliament and the Crown, came all the way from England. Thomas Gage tried that shit. He tested his assumption at his earliest convenience. It didn't work out for him, okay? And there was a slight increase on commodities tax. So gun control and a slight increase on commodities tax is what caused the revolution to get popped off. But in America, fewer people can own fewer types of guns than ever before in American history, and nobody does anything. The majority of people who actually make money in this country, their tax bracket is like 50 plus, almost 60% of their income goes to taxes. So there's never going to be another American Revolution. And I believe anybody who says that there is going to be another American Revolution is an imbecile. They have eyes and they don't see, and they have ears but they don't hear. That's their fault. But what I'm getting ready for is a regime change. America is dead. The dollar is dead. It's over, y'all. They're waiting for the fall. And when America falls, they are not going to revive her. It'll be a complete regime change. Every rule that we've known in America is going to change. That's the only way it can be. They're going to have to relinquish government authority to the entity that the government owes the money to. It will not be America. They've already signed it as a National Defense Authorization Act. The state lines dissolve. The state constitutions dissolve. And FEMA takes over. They've established 10 FEMA regions. They've already cleared up all the red tape just like they did in Nazi Germany. And these people are just like Nazis. They do whatever the state tells them. The state provides their paycheck, their pension, their health care, their education, and everything else. They will not rise up. And if you think that you are going to rise up against this government, you're an imbecile. Not that it can't be done, it's that it won't be. People are not going to rise up against what feeds them. It will not happen. 0% of it. Prove me wrong. Stitch this, duet this, whatever you want to do. Show me some evidence, because all I hear is talk from East Coast to West Coast. I ain't got nobody like me who can show receipts. 18-6515 is my Supreme Court appeal. Go look it up and read it. I did that. I got the laws of our nation changed. Bruin was decided the way that it was because I did what I did. Prove me wrong. Stitch this, duet this. I dare you.